Franz Anton Beckenbauer was born on September 11, 1945, in Munich, just months after World War II ended. Germany was devastated. Buildings were shattered, families struggled to rebuild their lives, and the future felt uncertain. Franz grew up in the working-class district of Giesing, where football was often played in dusty streets or empty lots. His father worked in the postal service and hoped his son would pursue a stable career. But young Franz had something else in mind. Football quickly became his obsession. At 9 years old, he joined the youth team of SC Munich 06, a small local club. Coaches noticed something unusual about him almost immediately. He wasn't the fastest or strongest player, but he had extraordinary awareness. While other children chased the ball, Franz seemed to understand the entire field. That awareness would later define his revolutionary playing style. Originally, Beckenbauer intended to join the famous club TSV 1860 Munich, which was more successful than their city rival. But during a youth match, an opponent slapped him in the face during a heated moment. Franz decided he would never join that club. Instead, he chose the other side of Munich's football divide, FC Bayern Munich. At the time, Bayern was far from the global powerhouse it would become. That decision would change football history. Beckenbauer joined Bayern's youth system in 1959. By the early 1960s, his talent was undeniable. In 1964, he made his senior debut for Bayern Munich. At that time, the club played in Germany's second division because the new national league, the Bundesliga, had just been created. Together with rising stars like Gerd Müller and Sepp Maier, Beckenbauer formed the spine of a team that would soon dominate Europe. But what truly made him special was his position. He redefined it. Traditionally, defenders stayed behind the back line and focused on stopping attackers. But Beckenbauer played differently. He moved forward with the ball. He dribbled. He created attacks. Playing as a libero or sweeper, he controlled the rhythm of matches. Instead of simply defending, he became the team's strategist, orchestrating plays from deep positions. His elegance earned him the nickname Der Kaiser. By the late 1960s, Bayern Munich had become one of Europe's most exciting teams. The early 1970s marked Bayern Munich's golden era. The club won 3 consecutive European Cups: 1974 European Cup Final, 1975 European Cup Final, 1976 European Cup Final. These victories established Bayern as a continental powerhouse. Beckenbauer was the captain and the calm leader at the heart of the team. While teammates battled fiercely, he glided across the pitch with effortless composure. Many fans believed he made football look easy. While his club career flourished, Beckenbauer also became the face of the West German national team. His first major tournament was the 1966 FIFA World Cup in England. West Germany reached the final but lost to England national football team. 4 years later, at the 1970 FIFA World Cup in Mexico, Beckenbauer produced one of football's most legendary performances. During the semi-final against Italy national football team, later called the game of the century, Beckenbauer dislocated his shoulder. Substitutions were limited at the time. He refused to leave the pitch. With his arms strapped to his body in a sling, he continued playing until the end of extra time. Though Germany lost 4-3, his bravery became legendary. 4 years later came redemption. The 1974 FIFA World Cup was hosted in West Germany. Expectations were enormous. The final took place in Munich against the brilliant Dutch team led by Johan Cruyff. The Netherlands scored first before any German player had touched the ball, but West Germany fought back and won 2-1. As captain, Beckenbauer lifted the World Cup trophy in front of a roaring home crowd. Germany had a new national hero. Beckenbauer's brilliance was recognized worldwide. He won the prestigious Ballon d'Or twice, 1972 and 1976. At the time, few defenders were considered for such awards. But Beckenbauer wasn't just a defender, he was the architect of his team's play. His influence on football tactics continues even today. In 1977, Beckenbauer surprised the football world by moving to the United States. He joined the New York Cosmos in the North American Soccer League. There he played alongside legends like Pelé and Carlos Alberto Torres. The Cosmos were building a spectacle, bringing global superstars to American audiences. Beckenbauer embraced the experience. He enjoyed the excitement of New York City and helped promote soccer in a country where the sport was still growing. During his time with the Cosmos, the team won multiple league titles and stadiums filled with curious fans. After several years in the United States, Beckenbauer returned to Hamburger SV in the early 1980s. Even in the final stages of his playing career, his intelligence and leadership remained evident. He retired in 1983, ending one of the greatest playing careers in football history. But his story was far from over. In a surprising move, Beckenbauer became manager of the Germany national football team in 1984. At the time, he had no formal coaching license. Many critics doubted him, yet he quickly proved them wrong. Germany reached the final of the 1986 FIFA World Cup, but lost to Argentina national football team and their captain Diego Maradona. Beckenbauer promised they would return stronger. He kept that promise. The 1990 FIFA World Cup in Italy was Beckenbauer's masterpiece as a coach. Germany played disciplined, confident football throughout the tournament. In the final, they faced Argentina again. This time Germany won 1-0, securing the World Cup. With that victory, Beckenbauer joined an extremely exclusive group of people who won the World Cup both as a player and as a manager. Only a few individuals in football history have achieved that feat. After his coaching career, Beckenbauer returned to FC Bayern Munich as a club executive. He played a crucial role in transforming Bayern into a global football empire. Under his influence, Bayern developed modern infrastructure, expanded internationally, and consistently competed at the highest level. He even briefly coached the team again in the 1990s, leading them to domestic success. Another major chapter of his life involved organizing the 2006 FIFA World Cup in Germany. Beckenbauer led the country's successful bid to host the tournament and served as chairman of the organizing committee. The tournament became famous for its joyful atmosphere and was often called the summer fairy tale. Fans from around the world celebrated in German cities, and the event helped reshape Germany's international image. Like many powerful figures in global sports, Beckenbauer's later years were not without controversy. Investigations emerged regarding the bidding process for the 2006 World Cup. While debates continued, Beckenbauer maintained that his intention had always been to bring the tournament to Germany and celebrate football. Despite these disputes, his contributions to the sport remained immense. Off the pitch, Beckenbauer experienced both triumphs and personal challenges. He married multiple times and had several children. Fame brought luxury and attention, but it also meant constant public scrutiny. Yet throughout decades in football, one thing remained constant: his love for the game. Franz Beckenbauer passed away on January 7, 2024, leaving behind an extraordinary legacy. Few figures in sports history shaped their game as profoundly as he did. He achieved greatness in 3 roles: world-class player, World Cup winning manager, influential football administrator. More importantly, he changed how the game itself was played. The modern ball-playing defender seen today in stars across Europe traces its roots to the way Beckenbauer interpreted the sweeper role. He turned defense into art. Even decades after his playing career, young footballers study his style. His matches are analyzed by coaches. His leadership remains a model for captains. Clubs across the world still look to Bayern Munich's structure built partly under his guidance as an example of football management done right. Beckenbauer's life reflected the evolution of modern football, from dusty neighborhood pitches to global stadiums watched by billions. Perhaps the most iconic image of Franz Beckenbauer is from 1974. He stands tall, calm, and composed, holding the World Cup trophy high above his head in Munich. The crowd roars, flashbulbs explode, and at that moment, the boy from a modest Munich neighborhood becomes a legend whose name will forever echo through football history. Franz Beckenbauer der Kaiser had conquered the world. The story of George Mikan begins long before the National Basketball Association became a global powerhouse. In the 1920s and 1930s, basketball was still a relatively young sport, played mostly in small gyms and local leagues. Few people could have imagined that a tall, bespectacled boy from the American Midwest would one day become the first true superstar of professional basketball and help shape the modern game. George Lawrence Mikan Jr. was born on June 18, 1924, in Joliet, a working-class town southwest of Chicago. His parents were of Croatian descent, and like many immigrant families, they emphasized discipline, education, and hard work. As a child, Mikan was not the confident athlete people would later see dominating basketball courts. In fact, he was awkward, tall, and suffered from severe nearsightedness that required thick glasses. Many teachers worried that sports might even be dangerous for him. During his childhood, basketball was not his main interest. He initially dreamed of becoming a priest and attended Catholic schools where academics were taken very seriously. But his unusual height, he would eventually grow to 6 feet 10 inches, made him stand out wherever he went. At a time when most people were much shorter, his size alone made others wonder whether he might be suited for basketball. Mikan eventually enrolled at DePaul University in Chicago. At first, he studied to become a priest and planned a life focused on religion and scholarship. But fate intervened in the form of a determined basketball coach named Ray Meyer. Meyer believed that Mikan's size and potential could transform DePaul's basketball program if the young student was willing to commit to training. Convincing Mikan was not easy. He was clumsy on the court, and many early practices were frustrating. He often stumbled over his own feet, struggled with coordination, and had difficulty catching passes. But Meyer was patient. He created intense drills designed specifically for Mikan, forcing him to develop agility, balance, and precision. One of the most famous training routines to emerge from this period was the Mikan drill, which involved repeatedly scoring layups from both sides of the basket to improve footwork and timing. The relentless practice began to transform him. Slowly, the awkward student evolved into a powerful center who could dominate the area near the basket. By the mid-1940s, Mikan had become the centerpiece of DePaul's basketball team. His ability to score close to the rim and block shots changed the way opposing teams played. College basketball fans across the country began to hear about the giant player wearing thick glasses who seemed unstoppable near the basket. During this time, college basketball itself was growing in popularity, especially after the excitement surrounding tournaments like the NCAA men's basketball tournament. Mikan's performances drew large crowds, and he helped lead DePaul to national prominence. After graduating in 1946, Mikan faced an uncertain future. Professional basketball was not yet the massive industry it would later become. Several leagues existed, often competing with each other for players and fans. Mikan eventually joined the Chicago American Gears, a team in the National Basketball League, one of the early professional leagues in the United States. Almost immediately, Mikan proved that his college success was no fluke. His height and strength made him nearly impossible to defend in the paint. Opposing players struggled to stop his hook shots and close-range scoring. He also became known for his defensive presence, blocking shots and intimidating opponents who tried to drive toward the basket. However, the American Gears team folded after just one season due to financial problems, something that happened frequently in early professional basketball. Mikan soon joined another team that would become legendary, the Minneapolis Lakers. The Lakers were based in Minneapolis and would eventually become one of the most famous franchises in basketball history. With Mikan as their star center, the Lakers quickly rose to dominance. He became the focal point of the team's offense, scoring points at a rate rarely seen in that era. Because the game was slower and lower scoring at the time, his scoring totals often dwarfed those of other players. Mikan's impact on the court was so dramatic that the rules of basketball began to change partly because of him. One of the most significant adjustments involved the size of the lane, the rectangular area near the basket where players often battled for position. Originally quite narrow, the lane was widened to make it harder for dominant centers like Mikan to camp near the hoop and score easily. During this era, professional basketball leagues were evolving and eventually merging. The Basketball Association of America later combined with the National Basketball League in 1949 to form the modern National Basketball Association. Mikan was already the biggest star in the sport, and he would soon become the NBA's first true superstar. Between the late 1940s and early 1950s, the Minneapolis Lakers dominated professional basketball. With Mikan leading the way, the team won multiple championships and built one of the first dynasties in the sport. Their titles came in 1949, 1950, 1952, 1953, and 1954. Fans flocked to arenas to watch Mikan play. At a time when television coverage was limited and sports marketing was minimal, his presence alone could draw huge crowds. People were fascinated by the towering center who controlled the game with scoring, rebounding, and defense. Mikan's playing style was powerful and methodical. Unlike modern basketball stars known for speed and flashy moves, his dominance came from positioning, strength, and consistency. He used hook shots and short jumpers to score, and he controlled rebounds with both hands high above defenders who simply could not reach the ball. Yet Mikan's influence extended beyond individual statistics. He helped prove that professional basketball could be commercially successful. Teams that featured the Lakers often saw attendance rise dramatically, helping stabilize a league that was still trying to establish itself. Despite his dominance, the physical toll of basketball began to wear on him. In those days, players traveled constantly by train, played many games, and had little access to the advanced medical care athletes enjoy today. Mikan endured numerous injuries and physical stress during his career. In 1954, after leading the Lakers to another championship, he decided to retire from professional basketball. At just 29 years old, his playing career came to an end. However, his connection to the sport was far from over. For a brief period, Mikan returned to the Lakers as a coach, though coaching did not bring the same success he experienced as a player. Later, he became involved in legal and business work while remaining closely connected to basketball. In the late 1960s, Mikan played an important role in launching a rival professional league called the American Basketball Association. Serving as its first commissioner, he introduced innovations that would later influence the NBA, including the famous red, white, and blue basketball and the three-point shot. These ideas helped make basketball more exciting and would eventually be adopted by the NBA itself. In many ways, Mikan contributed not only to the early success of professional basketball, but also to the evolution of how the game is played. Over time, his contributions were widely recognized. Mikan was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, honoring his role as one of the most important pioneers in the sport's history. However, life after basketball was not always easy for him. Unlike modern athletes who earn enormous salaries, players in Mikan's era often struggled financially after retirement. For many years, he advocated for better pensions and recognition for early NBA players who had helped build the league. In his later years, fans and historians increasingly referred to him as the first superstar of basketball. Before icons like Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, or LeBron James, there was George Mikan, the player who proved that a single dominant athlete could define an entire sport. George Mikan passed away on June 1, 2005, at the age of 80. By the time of his death, the NBA had grown into one of the world's most popular sports leagues. The arenas were larger, the athletes faster, and the audience global. Yet many historians continued to emphasize that the foundation of that success had been built by early pioneers like him. His legacy lives on not only through championships and statistics, but also through the way basketball itself changed during his career. The widened lane, the emphasis on dominant centers, and the growth of professional basketball as a major entertainment industry all bear traces of his influence. From a shy, nearsighted boy in Joliet to the towering force who ruled early professional basketball, George Mikan's story is one of transformation, perseverance, and historical impact. He did not merely play the game. He helped shape it into the sport millions of people love today. The story of Rocky Marciano begins far from the bright lights of championship arenas. It starts in a small immigrant neighborhood in Brockton during the hard years between the world wars. Marciano was born Rocco Francis Marciano on September 1, 1923, the son of Italian immigrants who had come to America seeking opportunity, but instead found long hours and hard labor. His father, Pirino, worked in factories and occasionally as a shoemaker, while his mother Pasqualina held the family together with relentless discipline and love. They had little money, but the home was filled with the values that would shape Rocky for the rest of his life: toughness, humility, and determination. Growing up in Brockton was not easy. The town was a working-class place where many families struggled. Rocky was not particularly large as a child, but he was incredibly strong and stubborn. He loved sports, especially baseball. For many years, his dream was not boxing, but becoming a professional baseball player. As a teenager, he played first base for local teams and developed a powerful throwing arm. Yet despite his natural strength, Rocky was not considered a top prospect, and his baseball ambitions faded when he failed to try out for a minor league team. Like many young men of his generation, Marciano's life changed dramatically with the outbreak of World War II. In 1943, he was drafted into the United States Army and stationed in Wales. It was there that boxing entered his life almost by accident. Soldiers frequently organized boxing matches to pass the time and build morale. Rocky began fighting in these contests and quickly discovered that he had unusual power in his fists. His punches were heavy and relentless, and he seemed to possess an almost endless supply of stamina. However, his early boxing career was far from smooth. Marciano was raw and unpolished. His style looked awkward and crude compared with the graceful technique of many professional fighters. He crouched low, lunged forward, and threw wide hooks that seemed wild but landed with devastating force. Some observers initially dismissed him as a brawler who would never succeed at the highest level. After the war ended in 1946, Marciano returned to Brockton and worked various jobs, including digging ditches and loading trucks. But the boxing bug had taken hold. He began training seriously and adopted a slightly modified version of his birth name, becoming Rocky Marciano. Under the guidance of trainers who recognized his incredible strength and determination, he slowly began building a professional career. Marciano's professional debut came in 1947. From the start, he gained a reputation for knockouts. His punches carried extraordinary power, especially his right hand. He also developed a famous weapon known as the Suzy Q, a looping right hand thrown from an unusual angle that often caught opponents by surprise. But power alone did not define Marciano. His conditioning was legendary. He trained harder than almost anyone in boxing, often running miles through the hills of Massachusetts and hitting heavy bags until his hands bled. As Marciano's record improved, he began attracting attention across the boxing world. Yet critics remained skeptical. At just over 5 feet 10 inches tall and usually weighing under 190 pounds, he was considered small for a heavyweight. His style still looked rough, and many experts believed more skilled fighters would eventually expose his flaws. But one by one, Marciano kept winning. By the late 1940s, he was facing increasingly dangerous opponents. Each fight seemed to follow a similar pattern. Marciano would take punishment early, then slowly wear down his opponent with relentless pressure and brutal body shots. His ability to absorb punches became legendary. He would simply keep moving forward, forcing opponents to fight at a pace few could endure. In 1951, Marciano faced one of the most famous fighters in boxing history, Joe Louis, in a bout that symbolized the changing of generations. Louis, known as the Brown Bomber, had been heavyweight champion for many years and was widely regarded as one of the greatest boxers of all time. However, by the time he faced Marciano, he was nearing the end of his career. The fight took place in New York City and drew enormous attention. Marciano admired Louis deeply and had once listened to his fights on the radio as a child. Facing his hero was emotional for him. But once the bell rang, sentiment disappeared. Marciano attacked relentlessly, eventually knocking Louis out in the 8th round with a powerful combination that sent the former champion crashing through the ropes. The victory made Marciano a serious contender for the heavyweight championship. That opportunity came in 1952 when he fought Jersey Joe Walcott for the heavyweight title in Philadelphia. Walcott was a crafty and experienced fighter with excellent defensive skills. Early in the fight, he stunned Marciano by knocking him down in the 1st round. It was the first time Marciano had ever been knocked down in his professional career. For much of the fight, Walcott outboxed him, using clever footwork and precise punches to control the action. As the rounds passed, it seemed possible that Marciano might lose his first fight. But Marciano never stopped pressing forward. In the 13th round, with the fight slipping away, Marciano unleashed a perfect right hand. The punch landed with explosive force on Walcott's jaw, instantly knocking him unconscious. It became one of the most famous knockouts in boxing history. With that single punch, Rocky Marciano became the heavyweight champion of the world. The victory marked the beginning of a remarkable championship reign. Marciano defended his title 6 times between 1952 and 1955, facing some of the most respected fighters of the era. His challengers included Walcott in a rematch, Eza Charles, and Archie Moore. Each defense reinforced Marciano's reputation for toughness and power. Against Charles, a brilliant former champion known for his speed and intelligence, Marciano endured a grueling 15-round battle that left both fighters exhausted and bloodied. In their rematch, Charles opened a deep cut across Marciano's nose that nearly stopped the fight. Yet Marciano refused to quit and eventually knocked Charles out in the 8th round. Perhaps the most dramatic defense came against Archie Moore in 1955. Moore, nicknamed the Old Mongoose, was a master tactician and one of the hardest punchers in boxing history. Early in the fight, Moore knocked Marciano down, shocking the crowd. But once again, Marciano rose from the canvas and resumed his relentless assault. By the 9th round, Moore could no longer withstand the pressure. Marciano knocked him out, successfully defending his title yet again. What made Marciano truly unique was not just his power or toughness, but his record. Throughout his entire professional career, he never lost a fight. When he retired in 1956 at the age of 32, his record stood at 49 wins and 0 losses, with 43 knockouts. No heavyweight champion before or since has retired undefeated with as many victories. Marciano's decision to retire surprised many fans. He was still the champion and could likely have continued earning large purses. But he had promised his wife Barbara that he would not fight forever, and he understood the dangers of staying too long in such a brutal sport. Unlike many fighters, he chose to leave the ring while still on top. Life after boxing brought new opportunities. Marciano made appearances on television, invested in businesses, and enjoyed spending time with his family. Though he was famous worldwide, he remained the same humble man from Brockton who valued hard work and loyalty. Tragically, Marciano's life ended far too soon. On August 31st, 1969, the day before his 46th birthday, he was traveling in a small private airplane near Newton. The plane crashed during bad weather, killing Marciano and the other people on board. The news shocked the sports world. One of boxing's greatest champions was gone, yet his legacy endured. Rocky Marciano became a symbol of perseverance and determination. He proved that unconventional fighters could succeed through sheer willpower and relentless effort. His undefeated record remains one of the most celebrated achievements in sports history. In the years since his death, Marciano has been inducted into multiple halls of fame, and his name continues to be mentioned whenever people debate the greatest heavyweight boxers of all time. Fighters and fans alike study his career, marveling at the incredible stamina, punching power, and courage that defined his style. But beyond the statistics and championships, Marciano's story is ultimately the story of an immigrant family's son who rose from poverty to become a global icon. From the streets of Brockton to the pinnacle of boxing, he carried with him the values he learned as a child. Work harder than anyone else, never give up, and always keep moving forward. Those principles guided Rocky Marciano through every round of his life, and they are the reason his story continues to inspire generations long after the final bell rang. Bobby Jones, born Robert Tyre Jones Jr. on March 17, 1902, in Atlanta, was a figure whose life would come to symbolize both extraordinary skill and extraordinary restraint. Born to a prominent family, his father was a successful attorney. Jones grew up in a household where discipline, education, and integrity were held above all else. From an early age, his parents encouraged curiosity and excellence, but golf, of all pursuits, would become the defining passion of his life. Jones was introduced to golf at the tender age of 6, wielding a club on the small lawns of his neighborhood. By the time he was 10, he was already showing an uncommon natural aptitude for the game. While other children played casually, Jones approached golf with the seriousness of a scholar. He studied the swing, the stance, and the subtle dynamics of the ball's flight. His early coaches quickly recognized that he possessed an unusual combination of hand-eye coordination, mental focus, and instinctive feel for the game. Educated at Emory University, Jones showed a talent not only in athletics, but in academics. He later attended Georgia Institute of Technology and then Harvard University, balancing his studies with a growing reputation in amateur golf circles. By the age of 17, Jones had already won several state and regional tournaments, including the Georgia State Amateur Championship. Despite the allure of professional golf, Jones remained steadfast in his amateur status, a decision that would define his career. In an era when professionalism was often seen as the path to financial gain but social compromise, Jones chose the amateur path, emphasizing sportsmanship, dignity, and the purity of the game. He famously quipped that he wanted to be remembered as a gentleman who plays golf, and not merely as someone chasing trophies or wealth. Jones' competitive career truly took off in the 1920s. In 1923, he won the U.S. Open, the first of his 4 victories in that prestigious event. His style was distinguished by a smooth, natural swing that combined elegance with deadly accuracy. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Jones did not rely on sheer power, but on control, precise shot-making, and strategic thinking. Golf for him was a mental contest as much as a physical one. He meticulously calculated angles, judged winds, and visualized trajectories, often outthinking opponents who possessed greater raw strength. Throughout the 1920s and early 1930s, Jones dominated the amateur golf world. He won the U.S. Amateur 5 times and the British Amateur 3 times, cementing his reputation as the preeminent amateur golfer of his generation. His victories extended across continents, demonstrating not only technical skill but adaptability to diverse courses and conditions. While many golfers excelled only in familiar settings, Jones could conquer the links of St. Andrews or the rolling fairways of Marion with equal aplomb. The pinnacle of his competitive career came in 1930, when Jones achieved the historic Grand Slam, a feat that remains legendary in the annals of golf. That year, he won all 4 major tournaments of the era: the U.S. Open, the British Open, the U.S. Amateur, and the British Amateur. This accomplishment was unprecedented, combining skill, endurance, and mental fortitude. It was not merely a record. It was a statement about the potential of dedication, strategy, and precision. Yet, even at the height of his success, Jones remained an amateur in name and principle. Unlike modern golfers, who might capitalize on fame and winnings, Jones viewed the game as a craft and a pursuit of excellence, not a business. After his Grand Slam year, he retired from competitive golf at just 28 years old. For many, it seemed astonishing. He left behind a sport in which he could dominate for decades. But Jones' decision reflected his belief that the sport's greatest rewards lay not in money or recognition, but in integrity, mastery, and contribution to the game. Retirement from competition did not mean leaving golf entirely. Jones turned his attention to course design and administration. Alongside investment banker Clifford Roberts, he co-founded the Augusta National Golf Club in 1932. Augusta would become the site of the Masters Tournament, which Jones helped establish in 1934. Though he never played professionally for prize money, Jones' influence shaped the professional game for generations. The Masters, with its iconic azaleas, challenging greens, and deep sense of tradition, stands as a monument to his vision: golf as a blend of beauty, difficulty, and sportsmanship. Jones also authored instructional texts, including the acclaimed Golf is My Game, 1952, sharing not only technique but philosophy. He emphasized the mental aspect of golf, teaching players to approach each shot with thoughtfulness and calm. He insisted that golf was a game of patience, observation, and character as much as of swing mechanics. Through his writing, coaching, and mentorship, he influenced countless players, blending practical instruction with the ideals of honor and integrity. Beyond golf, Jones led a life marked by personal humility and intellectual curiosity. He was a trained lawyer, passing the Georgia Bar exam in 1929, and often balanced legal practice with his golf commitments. His peers noted that he approached life with the same strategic thinking and deliberation that he applied on the course. He valued family, faith, and friendship, and lived largely out of the public spotlight despite his fame. Jones' influence extended into civic and philanthropic work. He supported charitable causes, educational initiatives, and programs promoting sportsmanship among youth. Though he avoided the celebrity culture of modern athletes, his example inspired both contemporaries and subsequent generations to value excellence over notoriety, contribution over self-promotion. His later years were marked by declining health, including battles with diabetes and heart complications. Jones continued to remain active in golf, attending tournaments and offering guidance, yet he retained a quiet, measured presence. On December 18, 1971, Bobby Jones passed away at the age of 69 in Atlanta, leaving behind a legacy that extended far beyond trophies or records. Bobby Jones' life remains a model of disciplined excellence, integrity, and vision. He achieved what few could imagine: a Grand Slam, multiple amateur championships, an enduring influence on the professional game, all while refusing to compromise principles for fame or fortune. His philosophy that golf was both an art and a moral exercise resonates still, informing not just players, but all who seek mastery in their fields. Today, Bobby Jones is remembered as a towering figure in sports history, a man whose precision on the course was matched by moral clarity off it. Augusta National, the Masters Tournament, and his writings serve as testaments to a life lived in pursuit of excellence, a standard that continues to guide golfers and admirers worldwide. Jones' story is not merely about the pursuit of victory, but about the cultivation of character, the quiet shaping of a sport, and the enduring power of integrity in achievement.